Hello, hello, happy day, happy day. I hope you all are doing well. And welcome to the Sheila C Show. And that C stands for come on in this room and have a sit down so we can chit chat for a little while. Listen, the Sheila C Show is the ultimate go-to podcast for ambitious individuals who want to live a more fulfilling and successful life, to give you valuable insights, expert tips, and successful life to stories to get you inspired to learn more about growing your business or enhancing your emotional well-being. Now, in every episode, you're going to gain practical tips and insightful wisdom in the company of a supportive community whom I call Sheila's Thrive Tribe, because baby, over here we thrive, okay? And I want you to subscribe. That's how you join the Thrive Tribe. Now, but if you are new to the show, welcome, hello, hola, bonjour, como está, ni hao, howdy, and what's going on, my people? Make sure you subscribe, follow, and share so you will not miss another episode. Listen, I am so excited that you're here today because we have a special guest. And I tell you all the time, listen, I bring the best guests in the land. What? Don't start it. Won't be nothing. Don't start nothing. Won't be nothing. Because it is undebatable, right? Because I bring the guest, and today's guest is nothing short of amazing. And I'm so glad to have them in our presence. Listen, our guest today is the CEO and founder. Oh, let me see if I got this name right. Kairos. Yes, Kairos is Carolina Digital. 18 years of progressive experience in engaging in the public. Nationally recognized community, school strategist, award-winning marketer, and cross-section sector leadership. Also a military veteran. Thank you for your service. And also, he helped a mental health company reach $4 million in just 1 year. He's an award for the best in the nation for new product launches. Listen, he just got everything. Listen, I am so glad to have him here. Let's bring him to the stage. Listen, I'm just running out of stuff today. Welcome. We're going to introduce Mr. Bruce Waller. Woo!
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
You're welcome. Oh my goodness, you do so much. I'm so excited and so proud of you. That $4 million though, I was like, what? Yep. So you the man, you the secret sauce. What? You ain't gonna be no secret after this.
No secret after this.
Out there, because listen, the Sheila C show is around the world. Yes, international. So you be internationally known even the more. Okay, so with all the accolades, and thank you for your service as being a veteran.
Yeah, absolutely.
With all those accolades, just in your own words, just tell us who you are. Tell us a little of your backstory too.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of like just the high level stuff that I've been doing. But most definitely, thank you, Sheila, for letting me be on the show. I love the song, Sheila. Hey. I love it. That's a vibe.
Thank you.
But yeah, long story short, because there are so many angles I can hit this. I just haven't had a dynamic background of being a part of learning so many things over the course of my life. Want to give a huge shout out also to who was a part of my story is Jay Hackett. Is actually, many of you may know him as the grant writing king. That's actually my business partner, but also my mentor. And so I've been knowing him for the past 17, 18 years. And so when it comes to like business and learning how to be a better individual in business and entrepreneurship as a whole, I most definitely always accredit him, because without people like that in your life, you really don't hit certain levels of success without getting it from a coach, getting it from a mentor or some individual. So a little bit about me. I'm from Richmond, Virginia originally, and I've been there half of my life, probably a little bit less than half now, because I've been out of where I was since I was like 15. I'm a little older, and I ain't gonna tell you my age. I'm 35. But yeah, I come from a huge dynamic background with singers, artists, creatives that have been doing that for the past 40 years now. And moving into like what I do now, I shortly after I left, I joined the military. I was a parachute rigger, so I jumped out of airplanes, packed parachutes,
Hold up. Wait a minute. You
night
jumped out of
jump.
airplanes. Was
Yeah,
the airplane messed up? Like, why are you jumping out of it?
people always say that. Why you jumped out of a perfectly good airplane?
Exactly. Was you stationed in Fort Bragg?
I was in Fort Bragg for a little while. I was in
Okay,
Fort
okay,
Jackson, Fort Dobbins. I actually stayed on stateside, but
okay. Because I'm
moving.
I'm like
Go
20
ahead.
minutes from Fort Bragg.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay. So you're not
yeah.
from. I'm. Well, I'm still in North Carolina. So I'm in
Where?
Asheville.
Oh, you
Asheville.
Asheville. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah, where me and Jay are at. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, with that, just learning a lot of different things. Knowing Jay for also that long too. We did a lot of business ventures together, but I really got really good at what I do, and I'll always tell people I didn't know this was like a best. Like this was research. Your first job or your first 2 or 3 jobs, like when you first started experience, the best job to have is a door-to-door sales job. And you learn so much in that because you have to talk to people right in person. So they say the best job for personal and business development is a door-to-door sales job. So I actually got that job when I was 17, and I
Oh,
thrived in that. I became nationally recognized in some of the stuff I did at door-to-door sales. So I started teaching, as an acquisition, like purchase with Verizon and AT&T, DirecTV. I became
okay.
nationally recognized in supporting sales. And then that shifted into, you know, working more into business. And now, I have a coffee shop. We help lead the Black Wall Street movement. And now the Kairos Carolina Digital oversees a lot of my projects. But the
Okay.
thing that I'm doing right now that I have always been doing is the entrepreneurs in schools, where I help entrepreneurs get into schools and land contracts to help kids thrive by using their expertise and failures.
Oh,
So
oh, hold up. You
a
you
lot of
giving us
different
too
stuff.
much. Hold on. Let's back
That's
up.
it.
Back up
That's
because
it.
you do so
Go ahead,
much.
cut it up. Cut it up.
Let's get them back. Put it back. Beep, beep, beep. All right, listen.
Go ahead.
Beep,
My
beep.
bad. My bad, Sheila.
Because you have so much. I want to get back to,
Yeah.
all right. So you was door-to-door salesman.
Door
All
to door
right.
salesman.
Where did you get this initiative, drive to not just go door to door? Because a lot of people don't like that. But where did you get that to keep pushing? Because I know there was a lot of doors shut in your face or people just know. What gave you that initiative to keep pushing and not just push, but to succeed so well?
Yeah, so being a young teenager, that's where the entrepreneurship like spirit got birthed in me. Um, what kept me going is like my team. Like I shifted into being an associate and then being a manager and then moving into being an owner. You actually through this pathway, you could, if anybody know back in the early 2000s, like the way to make money back in my time, like I graduated 2006, right? So I'm a baby to some people, but I graduated high school 2006, and right immediately after high school, I went into that job, that gig. I was like 18, but what kept me going was the fact that to so many no's, you do get a yes, and you don't need
Right.
so many yeses to actually create the type of income you want. And I remember one month I made like $20,000 at the age of 18
Wow.
just selling. And so direct sales is no different than online sales. It's just knowing how to change the approach to
Right.
actually generating the type of deals you want. So what kept me going is my leadership. Coaches, I'm telling you, like those managers and the coaches gave me plays for days to like stay on board. So like that's big.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
And having coaches, and this is one thing I tell people a lot, you have to invest in yourself with coaches. If you don't have that
got to.
leadership for people who've already paved the way, why not? Because if there's
Yeah.
a pothole down the street, why go into that pothole when they've already been there and they can coach you and say, hey, take a right when you hit
Yes.
First Street instead of going to that pothole. So that's very important to be coachable. Let's talk about that though.
Come on.
You have to
That
be coachable because so many people like, oh, I want to be coached, and you're such an inspiration, but then they don't want to take steps. It's about the
Sheila, come
mindset.
on.
Tell me, what type of mindset do you need to even be coachable?
Well, the thing is, one of the things that is like you have to be willing, like to be willing to do something you never did before to get somewhere you have never been before. And once you really understand that and not allow ego to step in the way, but really
Mm,
step into a moment of ethos, like understanding what you don't have, you need from somebody that may have it. And I think I adopted that pretty quickly because one, the military really helped me out with that pattern of thought, but two, having people early in my life pour into me when I was younger, 18, 19, really 17, 18, where it started, I realized the quickest way to success is having people that have already been there, done that, and spent their time. And that takes really a willingness. And so I was willing to like undergo teaching or to understand something I didn't know and let go of my ego in that place.
mm,
That's the biggest number one like piece of wisdom or nugget I can give anybody. Like just be willing because you ain't never been there before.
right. That
Yeah,
is so true. That is so true. Just to be humble and don't, get ahead of yourself and
yeah.
just have too much ego. So tell me a little bit about as far as growing up. Did you grow up with having everything that you wanted? Did you
No,
grow up with the silver spoon in your mouth?
I wish.
Tell me about how you grew up and how it affects you to where you are now.
So yeah, so growing up, I actually grew up in one of the most violent cities. At that time, it was rated like number one. I don't know if it was like top 10 in the nation at this time. It was Fulton Hill. It was a criminal area. People were dying left and right, and I grew up there. The crazy thing is, even though it was like a lot of gang activity and things happening around me, it didn't hit me there. Where it actually hit me was in schools where I
Mm,
didn't thrive and wasn't successful in because I was trying to fit in with the crowd as far as it staying out the way of academically exceeding, even though younger and when I was in elementary schools, I was an AB honor roll student. It kind of like around middle school, when you find your identity. I kind
mhm,
of shifted out of that. But going back to my beginning, it was honestly, my mom practically raised me, my brother, and my sister. And that typical story where I was having a father actively in the home and shout out to my pops. We typed today, after my developing the growth. But at that time, we didn't have my dad in the home, to really like show us what it means to be a man and protect us from situations and environments. So my mom did her best. But the crazy thing is, my mom is white. So mom, so being in a black neighborhood, and my mom is white and I guess Native American, but she will
Wait a minute,
identify.
come again. Wait a minute. What?
Yeah, so I had this dynamic. I'm biracial. I guess technically I'm biracial. My mom
Okay.
is white and Native American, Chickahominy Indian. We still close to
Okay.
that group of people, but everybody was like, "You got a white mom," and it used to actually embarrass me because I'm like, "Man, come on, I got a
Yeah,
white
especially being in a
mom."
black neighborhood.
Yeah, and
What?
it was just tough. It was really tough. So I stayed in the house. I tried to stay out the way. My brothers decided to go out the house, and our lives are night and day because of that. At a young age, he
Wow.
wanted to be out with them. I wanted to stay home, even though they tried to pull me in that area. And I think that really kind of got me in tune with myself. Like
Okay.
I can't really like lean on anybody. I didn't have anybody. I couldn't do it at school. I didn't have a program. I didn't. My mom tried her best, so it was just me. And so me, honestly, in my just honestly me, and trying to find an answer in me to try to make it through that time. So that's kind of like also a driver to like be free from the cycle of being another black young man that just got caught in the crossfire of a bad environment because my environment said otherwise, like you need to do this or that. And I try to really stay away from all of that. In but in school I just really like stayed under the radar and just was like that in between child. Like you got kids that are real bad, you know them, and you got kids that are real good, and you know them. But there's a group of kids in the middle that nobody pay attention to. That's the middle group of kids, and that's who I was. Yeah, that actually shows up in schools. They actually struggle
more. This is so
this.
interesting, Bruce. I'm really enjoying this conversation to see the back end, because a lot of times we focus so much on, oh, they made it out of the hood, and we focus on the greatness, but we don't look and see how you got there. We don't see that path of that, what it took. So it's so good to have that insight. What we're going to do, we're getting ready to take a commercial break. Then we're going to come back and talk about what you specialize in and what that secret sauce is. So we'll be right back shortly after this commercial.
Everyday caregivers rise as the unsung heroes in our communities. At Huff Legacy Caregiver Support Network, we stand by these heroes, offering them the education, support resources, and events that they need to refuel and rejuvenate. We understand that when we uplift our caregivers, we uplift everyone they care for. Join our cause, lend a hand, donate, or volunteer today. You can contact us at 346-330-6372.
Isn't it time? Isn't it time your money worked a little harder for you? A lot harder? Then break free from the limitations of conventional banking and unleash the power of your spending with Transact Card. That's right, the power of your spending power with a new, easy-to-understand, and more powerful rewards program. You see, Transact Card matches every dollar you spend with the purchase power of a reward dollar called a Z-Buck. Z-Bucks can be redeemed on a variety of goods and services in Transact Card's exclusive marketplace, Z-Club. Anything from everyday household items to bucket list vacations. Transact Card, straight up dollar for dollar value. Much more powerful than stingy old school rewards programs. Ever thought the banking game was rigged against you? Transact Card is changing the rules by reworking traditional banking fees and manufacturers' pricing to ensure products and services are more affordable for you. Now, you can enjoy the benefits of building financial momentum with our private, secure banking technology. Power Spending Unleashed is just the beginning. Transact Card. Now, banking changes forever.
All right. We're back after those commercials. Listen, okay, we're talking to Mr. Bruce Waller. We're diving in deep of who he is, not just what he does, but who he is and how he got to where he is to be so successful. So to learn that, hey, he didn't have that silver spoon in his mouth after all, no matter what people say or think. He has been working since he's been 18, or probably before that, but 18, really grinding, going door to door, but knowing who he is, but investing, having those coaches beside him. But he was also coachable, meaning he was willing to listen, to make a change, to work on himself. So we're going to bring him back to the stage, and we're going to talk a little bit more, Mr. Bruce, about what do you specialize in? Because I see that you lead with your heart. I can tell that already. And you taking your experiences, how you was raised and how you was doing in school. You said you wasn't the here, the top, the bottom. You was in the middle. Yeah. Where people get like, do they go to this school? I don't even know who you're talking about.
Right.
So I'm hearing what's leading you. So tell the audience, what is it that you specialize in?
Yeah, so I'll give a little context. So in schools, I didn't do so well. I actually got put in learning disability classes because when my mom and my dad split, I was an actual AB honor roll student. But I want to say that it's very important to have like a foundation or a solid household, because your kids are the academics, like attendance, behavior, and course grades that we look for. It actually doesn't come from them performing well academically. It comes from them being sound emotionally. So when that happened, I just went down here around 5th grade. So when I went to 6th grade, my mom didn't really know how to navigate the school system. And I went through this, I don't know, like a form of hell on earth in education. I kind of saw this thing happening to me, but I didn't know how to explain it other than I was experiencing it. So long story short, I was placed in learning disability classes. Actually, the first class I was placed in, and they mistakenly did it, was a remedial class, like kids that actually have mental issues and, you know, motor skill function issue. And I was accidentally placed in that class because the school system didn't, at that time, didn't have the proper education. So I was embarrassed in my first year, my first actual week in a sixth grade. So I'm like, I came to school dressed fresh, and they said, "Oh, you go to class over there." I'm like, "With them?"
What?
It was crazy.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, that would mess with your mental state. Like what? Your self-esteem?
But you got to think about, before that, I didn't have anybody even like. So I had me and God, honestly, just to put it, like, keep it a band. It was just me and God. So God actually walked me through that at sixth grade, at 12 years old. I didn't know what was happening. So because I was used to being at one of the top schools, because, you know, first through fifth grade, I was at one of the top schools, high performing schools. And at sixth grade, when my mom and dad split, it affected my world. And so now I've caught myself in this school, not knowing who my people are, and I'm considered a bad child. So even though I wasn't that type of kid, so I started assessing, simulating. So got into that experienced that from sixth to eighth grade. And I was like, something inside of me was like, you need to test out of this. This is not who you are. You're becoming somebody you're not. And I really believe like that was God. I didn't know who it was at that time, but it was like, this, I was like, this is not who you are. I had to test out of that class in order to go to ninth grade, to go to mainstream classes. And so, you know, so I fought for my academics, but even in that, I was just placed in these situations where the school tried to identify me as another prison to pipeline victim, you know, like school to prison pipeline is a real thing. And it starts with IEPs, which is an individual improvement plan, or it starts with a 504. They label you with these things like a number in schools, which is a number in jail, just another number. And I saw that happening to me. And so now what I do, I didn't find my passion. Like I was always working with kids, but it was probably 2017 when I got a job at United Way as a community school strategist. Okay. And it was just something about being in middle school, because that's where my trauma happened, right? Right. I said, this is not going to happen to another Black boy or little girl. And the community school strategy is this: how to connect the school to the community and the community to schools to have wraparound services to do the whole child approach. So if a kid's dealing with poverty, we got stuff for that. If a kid's dealing with hunger, we got stuff for that. If a kid's dealing with homelessness, we just do the whole child approach and stabilize their environment or their soul, so to speak, thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and their family. So when they come to school, they're thriving. Grades are going up, attendance is going up, behavior is better. Yeah. And I actually transformed school population over 700-800 kids by decreasing disciplinary by 75%, increasing academics by 5% in Black boys and girls. And
what?
And attendance.
Hold up. I have a clapper here. Hold up. Woo! That's major. That is major.
That's super big.
I work with kids at an after school I worked in the school system too, but then I was over after school program. I know what you're talking about. Yes. I know, because you have to be that gap between home and school.
You got to bring them together.
Advocate for them. And once they're in the system, they're in the system. They're just a number. They're just an idea of what. And you fought for yourself to test.
I had to fight for myself. Yes, it was horrible. And a lot of kids that might not have the type of resilience I had go under the cracks. I've seen kids, since I've been working in school systems since 2017, kill themselves, get killed, on drugs, working at a job where they're not fulfilled, don't have proper guidance, school is passing them through, and they are sending those grades to the nation. Like, we got a 98.5% pass rate. But when you drill into the numbers to Black, Indigenous, and people of color, there's like a 30% passing rate for them. And so I'm seeing this happen across the nation, and how the archetype of schools, the public school system as a whole, is failing 78 million kids, or at least half of those kids, or I would say 40%, 60%, 50% of those kids are ever increasing to not having the right resources in place for kids of color or kids of a different language or a kid of disability. And by our culture changing, our systems are not catching up with it. And so I did that in We United Way, got really good at it, became nationally recognized, started sharing best practices of how to transform schools. And so I see the whole school ecosystem from parent, child, student, parent, community partner, and how to create an ecosystem from all of them to communicate and put things in place. And I'm doing it at schools right now full time. So what I do full time now is that schools hire me to help do a transformative makeover, so to speak. And so somebody told me I should show other people how to do this. So now I do it as a practitioner, but I also partner with other entrepreneurs and speakers on how to make a change in schools, because I don't feel like our leadership overall in the education department, not everybody, is not meeting the need of our students and the families, because the social problem is changing. It's not what it used to be, 5 years ago, even 2 years ago. It's different now because when technology came into place, it just kind of changed the game. But also we have a completely new set of problems of kids not knowing who they are and how to navigate this world, which is so different versus where we were. So that's what I do now. Schools bring me in and I assess their issues. They are normally not the ones that can help the school overall to be inclusive or equitable. So they are bringing me in to create models for them. So I'm always tag teaming with entrepreneurs. So like, for instance, Dr. Life is coming down. I don't know if you know him. He's a part of like our tribe and circle. He actually did the Done is Better Than Perfect conference like maybe a year ago, 2 years ago.
What's the name again? What's the name?
Dr. Life.
Oh yeah. He's really into poetry and all that too.
Yeah, with the hat. Yeah, so I'm bringing them down to do. I'm creating festivals for schools to use it as a recruitment strategy to bring in different types of people, but also to showcase the school strengths. So I'm just using. I'm changing the paradigm around schools overall.
I'm loving it too. I am loving it. Kudos to you. I mean, you are doing the thing, right?
Yeah.
Because I understand. Because with my program, I had to go to the Board of Education.
Yep.
Because they don't make it easy for you to help them. They don't make it easy. It's politics a lot of times. And where I'm from, it's about who you know.
It's all about who you know.
And it should not be that hard to help if you have authentically want to help these kids. And I've seen where the social workers in the schools and the teachers pour into these kids. And a lot of times the parents are just doing the best that they can, right? Yeah. But then how much is too much? Because you can't keep pouring into these kids because you have so many kids. It's overcrowded. There's just a problem all the way around. So if I was one and I said, listen, Bruce, I want to help my students. I want to help my school. What advice would you give someone who has that passion to make that difference?
So if it was somebody on the outside in, or are you saying somebody that work in the school?
No, somebody from the outside.
Okay, yeah. So I always tell them, like, I have a 5-step approach. The first thing is assessing what are the needs, because I've seen a lot of the times when I was working in the schools as a community school strategist, a lot of people wanted to come up and just say, hey, I want to work in the schools. I always tell people to get a solid game plan of what they want to do. You don't have to be everything pulled together, but at least identify what it is that you want to do. And the best way to get into schools is to volunteer. Find out, so you can research what your school is dealing with by going to the school board website or school's website and kind of just identify and look on their social medias, look on the website, go to the next school board meeting, find out what's taking place. Okay. And then go visit the school and volunteer before you come up with any product or thing. Because a lot of the times people say, I want to help kids, but you have something that's missing kids altogether because you don't know what kids are dealing with. You want to help parents or families, but you don't even spend time with them. So it's kind of like this thing of this savior mentality. Like, I want to come in and help. You know they need help, but have you done your homework?
Come
So I
on.
tell people to go volunteer, give your time, go to the board meeting, get into it, build a relationship and connection with the key players before you even ask for anything. So, because if you come in with them and say, hey, you want to help, they're going to ask you, boom, 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 boom. How can you help? What is, these are the things you need. Do you have this? And if you ain't coming right, you probably took one opportunity and burned that. Because you usually only got 1 or 2 opportunities to meet people like that, because somebody's always hitting them up. I want to help. So whenever time I want to work with a school, I'm assessing that. So when I do my presentation or anything I have, it's bullseye the mission. It's bullseye on that strategic plan for the year or 3 years or 5 years. I'm building my approaches around what the school is looking for, and that becomes a fundable activity.
That is awesome. That is awesome, because a lot of times, like you do say, they come in, but if you have not been in school in this time, we can't take back when I went to school and say, hey, this is the mindset of students now, because it's so totally different.
It's so
Kids
different.
think different, they act different. What they're looking for is totally different. So you have to understand where they are to serve them, and you have to meet them where they are, not what your perception of what they need.
Absolutely.
So, and that's all about, like you're saying, doing the research, getting in there, getting your hands dirty, volunteering, talk to these kids. Listen, one day I just gradually, I was a director of an after school program. So I had we'd had like 10 schools, 250 kids. So it was huge. And every now and then I'll just pop up to school and have lunch with a kid, right?
That's it.
Yeah, so I will pop. This one time I went to the school and I popped up and had this young boy. He stayed in trouble a lot, but I said, I'm just going to give him some attention. I went and had lunch with him, and all his little friends around the table, I was like, who is that? Is that your caseworker? Is that your parole officer?
Oh my God.
They was like, is that your parole? I was like, what?
Dang, he was that bad.
Yes. I was like, I'm simply here to have time with you, to let you know you are important. So the work that you're doing is so important. And the fact that you've broken the code of how to get into these schools, but you're sending the elevator back down to teach people how to do so as well. So tell me, what type of program do you have to help if someone says, I want to join your program, I want to tap in with you?
Well, just the same approach I used when I was working in schools. I'm vetting people, because sometimes people's program or their idea is not best fitted or suited for a school, period. Because like I said, nobody has done their research. They haven't done their homework. They haven't even got into a school. They just have this idea, and it's just this idea that you have that has not been tested, tried, or anything. But if they did, they will go to our website just to book a call, because I'm listening for it. Do you first have a passion to work with young adults or youth? Because this is not just a money play, and you can create really great revenue for yourself. It's just all about, do you have the right passion? So they come to me. A lot of people come to me all the time because I'm connected to schools all over the country. I'm always doing work. I'm going to Radford, Illinois, to the third worst educational system in the country to do some work out there. I'm going, you know what I'm saying? After this, I'm going to the high school to do entrepreneurship training over there for Young Innovators Club that I created with the Black Wall Street Junior program attached with me and Jay, the work that we do here.
Yeah.
So I would say, first identifying what they have. And then one of the edges that I have an entire marketing team. So about 5 of us. So my first gig was Kairos. So I did social entrepreneurship, like social marketing for schools, educational departments, and nonprofits. So my team is an expert in actually building and packaging all this stuff, presentation, proposals, packages, workflows, emails, to actually get to a school. So if somebody works with me, I'm already giving them 4 years of experience of landing 5-6 figure contracts with my stellar team. They get access to that to build their stuff out. And so they'll just book a call. We jump on a call, we find out what they need. And if they want to do it, we started working immediately. I'm working with Panique right now, like shooters camp
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
We're doing some stuff, and I have insight to take any business and turn it into a program. And so it doesn't take me long to do that. And then to give it to the team, they build it out, and we start booking into schools in their
That's
local area.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome, Bruce, because I had an idea and I haven't been in the schools in a minute. My daughter just moved to a new school, but I had
Okay.
an idea of doing a podcast club
Okay.
because it will cover so many because I know how kids the communication because we
Mhm.
text so much they need to know how to communicate to also to critical thinking because when you're doing a
Yes.
podcast researching
Yes.
um marketing because you got the so it was so many different things I know it will hit some things and I was just like oh my gosh how do I even do this like do I really want to do this I like you said I have an idea but do I really want to get my
Do you
hands
really
dirty
want to
with
do
it?
this? Right. Because one of the things I've seen, Sheila, is that when people used to volunteer, especially stellar volunteers or people who come into school, like someone like yourself, same spirit, same mindset, they will come in, but they couldn't stay there long term, and kids would be let down.
Yeah.
So the idea of building entrepreneurs in school was birthed that if I could show an entrepreneur that is volunteering that time and convert it into a sustainable income, how much more transformation could they make with a kid versus having to leave to go get the bag? I can show them how to get the bag, being connected in the schools and still transforming students.
Oh I
And
love
what
it.
would our schools would be if that happened? So I kept seeing that people will come in, volunteer, they only can stay for a few weeks and they had to
Mhm.
leave because of got to pay the bills. And that was
Yeah.
always this cycle. And the kids would be let down and let down. And it just became counterproductive. I'm like, you know what? We need to find people that can commit long term. So I was like, then the idea came if an entrepreneur needs sustainable, we create our income.
Right,
What if
right.
I can help speakers or entrepreneurs how to land those 5-figure contracts that the money is already flowing through the educational sector to get it attached to what they're doing so they keep helping kids.
Okay,
So
let's talk about this money. Hold on. Let's talk about
yeah,
this
yeah.
contract. Are we talking about government contracts or state
No,
contracts?
it's a mixture. So
Okay.
you have a couple different ways that you can create money. So schools can get grants. They are typically getting grants from the state or from federal department. So those grants that are coming in, whether it's access grant, education grant, also schools have access to Title One funding. Title One funding is typically not always the most, and it also depends on the need of that school. You also have nonprofits that you can team up with to go into
Okay.
schools. And those are the things that help you get directly connected to. Matter of fact, yeah, I'm gonna pull up something while I'm talking. Those help you get directly connected to, um, getting into schools. Typically, how I have been getting paid in schools is usually the school has access to a grant, and I will find out the deliverables for that grant, and I'll actually get them connected to. Um, I'll get connected to their services that way, or I help build out some of the language. So when we're going after a grant, they can pay me out of that. But they do have government contracting. And so I have found over 200 fundable ways that schools can that money flows through, especially social and emotional learning. Mental health for funds come through the board. There are millions of dollars that come to the board that they allocate for certain things that nobody really knows about unless you go to these meetings. And I said, people
Mm,
go to the meetings because they're sharing right then and there what is allocated for what. And if you have a plan, a proposal, award-winning proposal, or an idea that is already solidified and connected, you can go into these schools and land these contracts. So some of my contracts are up in the higher 5 figures, and I'm able to do work all year and not having to think about how to create, what I'm saying, for myself an income because I'm doing meaningful work already. And
right.
so, yeah, so that's some of the ways. I'm pulling up some more of the ways because I have so many just things that people can pull from. And I also give them ideas of what services like they can offer. Like here's some of the services right here. Like if a person wants to go into schools and they don't necessarily know what they want to do, I already have like delivered a step-by-step process on like some of the ideas that they can create for themselves. If you give me 1 second, I think I got it right
Okay.
here. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, look, everybody want to learn, so I
Yes,
want
I'm
to
loving
show.
it.
Yeah, hold on, give me 1 second. I'm right here in my folder right now. I just
Okay.
yeah,
You look
it
through the
was a
folder. I'm just like having the practical ideas is sometimes half the battle because sometimes you can have an idea, but then you get stuck of like the next step or does this really make sense? So just hearing
yeah.
the different things that you're talking about now really is great because I'm sure somebody out here is like, hey, I could do that. Let me get in contact with Mr. Bruce.
So, like, these are some of the things that schools are funding right now, like bullying prevention, intervention programs, mental health and well-being support for students, addressing the achievement gap in education, promoting inclusivity and diversity in schools, substance abuse prevention in education, teen pregnancy prevention, promoting healthy eating and nutrition in schools, and early intervention and support for at-risk students. And there are over like there are so many more, like even supporting LGBTQ students and creating inclusive environments. These are social problems, and there are even technical problems. I haven't even gotten into the technical issues that schools deal with, like creating AI software.
Ooh,
That's the thing now where they're teaching AI
yes.
and they don't know how to do it, and they're contracting out for stuff like that. And
Oh,
so, even if you build for something like that's super attractive to schools right now. And so the 10 ways that I did find that schools will fund is something like of course, like a public speaking engagement or workshop facility, curriculum development services. You got to think about a lot of the stuff that schools are getting. They're getting second, third party curriculum. That's not just a part of the state or federal. Like they have went through. People have went through other processes to go up against the education department of having verified curriculum. Student enrichment programs are easy. Consulting services, partnership development, online e-courses they pay for, social entrepreneurship ventures and collaborations. So they're just so like when I say there are so many ways that this
yeah.
thing can be worked out, it's just it goes on and on just to like really help kids thrive.
So you got me thinking now. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Let's talk about this ebook. So I can have an ebook and I just present it to the school for them to buy the school or to the
Well,
ebook and buy the curriculum, or do I have to teach the curriculum?
you don't have to teach the curriculum. You can
Okay.
actually do it as a professional development, and that you can teach it to teachers.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can teach it to teachers and not having, you don't have to necessarily, you don't have to be the one to do it. So there are 3 ways that I help entrepreneur. I either can, speaking engagements is one thing that's normally an easier route. The student enrichment program, so that's an after school program or mentorship program or coming in. So I have a program called Change Ready, and I actually go into schools and help with building inclusive environments and teaching kids self-efficacy skills. And then I teach other people how to do it. Then I'm out after a certain amount of time, and
Yeah.
they get that curriculum from me. But it's a student enrichment program that I designed into a curriculum. The other thing is the third one was curriculum building. So if a lot of people have curriculum, especially entrepreneurs that I know, and that curriculum building is can be very well needed in especially inside of schools.
Okay.
So I'm gonna tell y'all some of the plays like where money is, and then
Ooh,
you
tell
can
us. Yes.
yeah. So I was just pulling myself. You got my brain turning. So
Yes, I
um,
loved it.
yeah. So
And I
one
can
of
tell
them,
this is where your zen is as well.
yeah. Because I'm passionate about this. But to get to this point, can you still see me? I don't know if you can. I
Yeah.
kind of
I
clicked
see
off.
you.
So I have I found over I would say 20 ways that money moves through schools, maybe 30 ways in my research.
Come
But
on, let's go. Let's get it.
some of them is like the professional development budgets. So schools like often allocate a portion of that budget specifically for professional development. So like consultants and speakers who offer teaching, training, workshops, and seminars can be compensated from that budget. And then you also have curriculum development funds. And usually a school has a dean of education or an individual that oversees curriculum. And people in middle and high school, especially in that position, be trying to figure out what to build. And so if you have a strategist like yourself or somebody that has something, they can actually align with a dean or an individual that oversees or superintendent of education curriculum. You can align with those individuals and they can pay you as an entrepreneur or consultant to assist in creating and enhancing the curriculum material. And their fees can come out from that allocated fund. Of course, you got grant funds. Shout out to Grant King. He schools normally write for that, right? But you can also write for it to support in that way. So schools may secure grants for specific projects to pay you out of. You got the technology budget. So let's say we build something for the curriculum technology education department. So that CTE program, or in other areas that's CTAE. So they add agriculture. So that's the one where, you're in high school, but you can go over to the other program to learn how to do hair or get your nursing, or your CTA license and stuff. That's that. Is it CTA? No, not CTA. What's the thing where you white old people and clean them? What's that license called?
CNA.
CNA, because I'm saying
white old people.
Forgive me, y'all. I don't mean nothing about it. So you got that. You have special program budget. So that's specialized, aimed at improving students' outcome or addressing. You got Title I funds. You also got pupil activity funds. So some schools have funds like designated for extracurricular activities. There are so many ways. Community partnerships. You got people don't be knowing about this. This is a good one. And I'm gonna say this last one because I got so many of them. It's parent association funds. Parents are a great way to fund something in the school. And if you can get on a PTA or parent association, or what they call a parent teacher association, they typically have a budget and can raise more dollars to actually take care of a cost of what you're doing. Because you can present to a PTA, and I have had taught many people how to present to them. It's typically one of the easier routes, and they can raise funds to pay you. And of course, you got general operation budget. But if you package your business and people's like, well, this ain't for me, like it's not, I don't have something. I have already researched already 200 problems, like I just showed you here, and 200 ways that people can get into schools and to create an income for themselves so they can support students. I'm like, there's so many ways to come in and support the child, and you can be one of those individuals. So it don't have to be. It can be technical too. So those are just some of the ideas and ways that you can.
But is there a best time of the year to present?
Yes.
Okay.
Especially, so you want to present most definitely right before school ends. I'm about to get a contract with a school now in the middle of, what I'm saying? So I'll give you three plays on that. So the first one is presenting to schools after school is over, and 1 week after that week, after school is over, because they are already allocating funds for next year. Most people don't know this. They are already allocating funds for next year to get people into they're already getting people in alignment with what they're doing. So you want to present at the end of the school year. You want to present also in the summertime, because they are still allocating, but that's that 1 week after. Typically teachers work 1 to 2 weeks after school is over, because they are assessing, trying to figure out, especially decision makers at the top work almost all year round. Especially people in central office. Teachers are different, but at central office, that's where you want to be hitting them at. Then you also have at the beginning of the year, like the first quarter, like their first semester is best. If you do anything in the middle of the year, they already have funds for it allocated. They just haven't found the right person. So you have at the end of the school year, 1 to 2 weeks after, you have at the very beginning, like when school just started, like a week before, and then somewhere in that first semester. Those are the best times to do it. But if you did it any other time, they already have funds allocated from the previous year. They haven't probably spent all that money up yet. So
Gotcha.
the school that I'm working with now is a new contract. I'm gonna oversee their whole Title I funding. So I'm gonna help them build out different things that they may need. So those are like the three main times.
Okay.
Also, teachers, want to give you another little tip. Teachers get stipends to learn more education. They can spend that however they want to learn. So you can also build stuff to help teachers. So let's say you have a summer. I'm giving y'all so many plays. Y'all better come on here.
Yeah, this is a play. I'm writing it down.
Yeah, let's say you show teachers, like they get professional development funds, and like you create a summer institution. That's the language they use, and it's like a summer institution for teachers, and you teach them something around professional development, or how to connect, or how to work with kids of color, or how to teach better, or whatever it is. They get anywhere between $200 to $500 or more to spend discretionally on anything that will improve their skills. And that's during the summertime, and they have to spend that before school starts up.
Let me get my clapper. Hold up. That was a whole deal. Like, what?
Yeah.
You all don't understand. Like, this is major. We would normally have to pay him for all this information he's sharing today. I really appreciate it, because I understand, because I teach AI. Well, I teach ChatGPT. And I had an assistant principal come and say, hey, can you teach?
They need that. Staff? I'm going to tell you right now. I'm about to tell you right now the major shift that's happening. Since AI has came on board, the education, it's shifting education as a whole. Like, just to give you insight, if you can package your stuff, and I can help you really get this thing tight. You can package your stuff to fit to schools, to teach technology teachers how to effectively do AI, because the teachers that are in technology are normally a little older than and behind the curve of teaching it. They may not have taken the time to learn it. So they like, oh, it came out. School's like, oh, retroactively responding. We got to teach this. You're already behind.
Gotcha.
So now they need consultants to teach teachers, and also develop curriculum that teachers can teach their students in innovative ways, because ChatGPT, you can they don't know all the ways. So your paradigm of you interacting with it, you can show teachers through a professional development, whether a summer institution, you can target teachers that are in the technology realm or English or whatever. I would say like in the technological department, or extracurricular activity. And teaching them how to operate ChatGPT and even other AI products. That was one of the problems I put down. You can do stuff around virtual reality education, augmented reality education, artificial intelligence education, online tutoring services, gamification learning. There's so much, and schools need it bad, because
you got my brain going now. I'm gonna have to book a call with you or something, bro. Because
we get you right.
For real, to package it, to have the idea and the skills,
speak the language that they're looking for. That's the secret. Most people don't know the language. They may have an idea, but they don't know how to translate it to a decision maker in education.
Woo! Oh my goodness, it was raining gems. I need an umbrella because it was just oh my goodness, thank you. Before we have your last words, what people don't know about Bruce is, drum roll please, you don't have a clue what I'm about to say.
I don't.
What people don't know about Bruce, he can dance like in a
I knew you was gonna say something like that.
Bruce can get down with the getting down. He have a whole routine.
Yep, I'm Chris Brown in the making, baby. At 35.
I love it. Okay, Bruce, Mr. Waller, please tell us how we can get up with you. What is your social media contacts? We're gonna have it in the notes as well, but how do they get in contact with your website and if they want to
Yeah.
join your program?
If you type in www.entrepreneursinschools.com, that's one way. It's entrepreneurs with the S at the end, and schools, as plural, entrepreneursinschools.com. And if you also type in entrepreneurs in schools, whether it's in Facebook or Instagram, we'll pop right up. If you go through the website, it gives you more insight and detail of what I do. I also have a video in there that gives you the first 5 steps. It's a free training. It's 15 minutes long. I'll show you how to do it right there. With just them 5 steps, you should be able to land your first 5-year contract. If you want to go into deeper, I have my scheduler on there so you can book a breakthrough session to see if you're a good fit for the program and if I'm a good fit for you. And so that's really it. And those are the 2 places that you can find me.
Okay,
Entrepreneurs in
awesome.
Schools on social media, or type it entrepreneursinschools.com or www.entrepreneursinschools.com.
Okay, awesome. We will have this. It is in the show notes as well. Wow, I am just like renewed because uh, children is my passion.
Mine's
Um,
too.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, oh my God, I love working with children because they're the next generation. But
Yes.
then to think is like, oh my God, maybe I'm not doing enough to help them, because if there's a problem, you have to be the solution and not just talk about it. So, oh my God, you done lit a fire. Listen, I'm gonna have to go think about some things now. But tell us, and just to hear your story, and I can just see how
Things
it's
stacked
intense
up and
to be
layered,
where you
right?
are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
God ordains your whole life, and it just
Mm-hmm.
the purpose, and your life is purpose driven, and you have so much confidence, what you're doing,
Yeah.
and you have that passion too. You have the experience from going on one side, but it's not like now, hey, I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to advocate for these kids and help and bridge that gap. It's so many tips that I can pull out of this whole interview today. But I'm so excited to have you, and I'm so thankful that you was here and sharing. So what would be something that you want to, your last words you want to say to our audience on today? It can be in any area. It's up to you.
Mm-hmm. I would say the biggest thing is to do the opportunity in the time frame of the opportunity.
Mm,
That's what I live by right now. Just do the opportunity in the time frame of the opportunity, and getting it done when the opportunity presents itself. Because sometimes we delay, and it's like, oh, I can get that back. But time and opportunities sometimes are the only 2 things that you can't get back when they're
mm,
presented in the time frame that they're in. So when I saw this need, I saw the window, and I said, I got to go through it, because if I don't, ideas are not destroyed. They're passed to someone else that will do it.
that's right. That is so true. Thank you very much for that. Now, one last thing before we go. You're at your coffee shop. Let's shout out your coffee shop.
Yeah. So coffee shop, and we got some dope people. I would go out here and show you. It's pretty big out there.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So I'll go out there for a quick second. It's called Grind AVL. It's a coffee shop. It's a co-working space and an event
Oh,
space. And we're
oh,
number
I
three
want to
in
see. Come
Yeah,
on. I want to
we're,
see
we're
it.
number 3 in North Carolina
Number
for the
three. What?
best coffee in North Carolina.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't
Yep.
know you had a co-working space
Yep.
too.
Yeah. So that's some of the artwork we have in here. There we
Oh,
go. It's a
oh my
pretty big area.
goodness.
So that's all the way back to the coffee shop up there. If you can see
Yeah.
on the wall, you can see Grind right there.
Yes, I love it. Yes, yes.
Yeah. And we got some paintings over there, way over there in the back.
Wow.
So yeah.
Very
So we
nice.
got a little we got some paintings in here. Shout out to my wife. Me and my wife has a business collaboration where we do these pieces together.
What do you mean? You make them? You
Yeah, we
what?
create them.
Paint them?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, wait a
Design them.
minute. For those that are just listening on audio, you're gonna have to go on the platform so you can see it visually, or you can go to my YouTube, Sheila C Hill on YouTube, so you can see this artwork. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's called Kairos Designs. And we come together and we build these out. Yeah, and she
Oh
did that
my.
all one. She did that whole one by hand.
What?
Yep. So being an entrepreneur, like we said, doing
Wow, Bruce. Oh my goodness. All right. So are those paintings for sale as well?
yes,
Wow.
yes. We just did a big show. We sold out of most of them this past weekend at the Comic-Con. I did a Comic-Con series. It's
Okay.
like
I did see that online.
black
Yeah.
superheroes and warriors. It was
Oh
dope.
my God. I'm so proud of you. Like you, my little brother. Like, yes.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh my
So that's
God.
the
I'm
part.
so proud of you. Okay. I'm gonna have to take that drive all the way to Asheville. Woo.
Yeah,
I
you
think it's
about
like
5 hours
4 hours for
away.
me. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Whoa,
So
that's awesome. Many blessings to you. Thank you for coming on the show. I'm just so impressed and proud and just
thank you.
uh okay. I'm gonna be right back with you. We're gonna close on out. Listen, I am so glad that Bruce, Mr. Waller, came. Listen, if anything resonated with him, with you, anything he said, because listen, he shared a lot. He shared a lot of information, but just to show you that you can just take this time to take some of the cues that he mentioned and the gems that he mentioned and make a difference in this world, because it is up to us to change the next generation. You have to have that passion, but reach out to him and listen, let him have that meeting with him and see if, if you're the right fit for him and vice versa, because he has really something that he's really touching a big need. I mean, you saw all the list of things that you can actually do, and I'm sure there's something that you can do in your child's school or in the local schools in your community. You don't have to have children and come and help the kids. Okay. You just go help the kids. Okay. You can help the kids. So in the meantime, listen, if you have not subscribed to the Sheila C. Hill Show, go ahead and do so. If you want to be a guest, go to the SheilaCHillShow.com. Or if you want to purchase an ad or sponsor an episode, just go to the SheilaCHillShow.com and do that, because listen, we are a part of CTR Media Network, which reaches over 350 million households in over 100 countries. So you want to tap in, you want to give that exposure to your brands. This is the place to be. And we got a special coming on, right? So go on the website and go check it out. So in the meantime, if no one has told you today that you are loved and highly appreciated, I'm telling you now that you are loved and highly appreciated, and don't let anybody dim your light. Love you much, and thank you for visiting the Sheila C. Hill Show.